Had the city built this fire station here near the I-17 and Joe Max, it would have taken only 4 minutes and 24 seconds to get to this house fire out here in North Phoenix. But instead, the closest engine took 10 minutes because the temporary fire station was closed. This is why it's critical to make sure these internal drains are clear of debris. Take a look at this. This is a kid's ball plugging in this drain, causing all this water to pool, and watch what happens when we take it out. Well, I just spoke to Michael Ward, the 15-year-old boy who was shot in this parking lot alongside his brother after reportedly stealing water, a bag of chips, and pizza from this Circle K. All this is just dry brush, and that's fueling these flames even more, along with the strong wind that we're seeing. But what you've seen so far is the damage that this fire has caused, but what you haven't seen is the human aspect of this. And walk with me over here. You can take a look right over there. Just a ton of people parked at the end of the road there. That is where they can go. That's as far as they can go because they live in one of the evacuation areas. AAA has been consistently monitoring the situation out there in Saudi Arabia. And what we have seen is that the markets reacted swiftly following those attacks. So we saw an increase in crude oil prices, but then over the last 24 and 36 hours, we've also seen a decrease. This one you may think Game of Thrones because of the name, but I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with the show. It's called the Fire and Ice Winterfest. It goes on the first week of February, and they have fire performers, as you're seeing right there. Ooh. They have ice catapults. They'll have torchlight parades. This is the official complaint by the State Board of Education, and in it, it lays out how Oscar Rosero managed to lie his way into several schools, failing to let them know that he sexually assaulted a student in 2010, in a unanimous decision by the board to revoke his license. And somehow, he found his way here to Santan Charter School, getting hired as a teacher and a coach. Kornblau had just met Fire Captain Kyle Breyer that weekend, and she was sitting in between Breyer and another friend on that golf cart when she found herself right in the middle of one of the worst moments of her life.
We were literally having the best night.
Lindsay Kornblau didn't personally know Fire Captain Kyle Breyer. After a night out in Old Town Scottsdale, they found themselves sitting next to one another on a golf cart. They had mutual friends.
We instantly hit it off.
At Civic Center at Stetson, things changed. The driver of a red Scion coupe, Hezron Parks, who would later admit to killing the captain, rides up on that golf cart, shouting and cursing, eventually hitting the golf cart with his car.
The guys put their feet out because they're trying to stop the dang car from hitting us.
Captain Breyer climbs off to confront Parks.
The only reason why they said anything to the guy was because he was charging at the car. They were like, what are you doing? What? There's girls on here. We're not trying to cause any trouble.
Within seconds, the 34-year-old fire captain is dead.
I could tell that Kyle put his hands out because I know that Kyle saw the gun at the last second. It was the worst experience ever. No one in their right mind would do that. And Kornblau played a key role in helping identify the shooter to police. Hezron Parks now faces second-degree murder charges. In Scottsdale tonight, Aldo, ABC 15, Arizona. Well, she's in stable but critical condition, Nick, and believe it or not, her husband tells me that today is actually a good day for them. This infection has already caused her to lose nearly 30% of the flesh on the left side of her body, from her shoulder down to her upper leg, and now her husband and 3 young children are just hoping that she pulls through. It was a new year with new adventures for the Lipinskis.
Planning out camping trips. We're planning a trip to Disneyland.
But then, a life-altering twist. 2 weeks ago, Kristen Lipinski visited her doctor for flu-like symptoms and a pain under her arm.
The pain just started getting worse and worse it was pretty much unbearable for her.
2 days later, she was rushed into surgery to save her life from necrotizing fasciitis, a flesh-eating bacterial infection, which has claimed nearly 30% of her body.
I couldn't believe it.
Kristen's husband, Nate, says every day is touch and go, a hard reality for him and their 3 kids.
It felt like we're in a horrible dream that you couldn't wake up from.
But can the flu lead to a flesh-eating infection?
The flu doesn't cause necrotizing fasciitis.
The flu does weaken your immune system, making you vulnerable to other infections. Flesh-eating ones are not contagious. They enter through cuts on the body. But even then, Dr. Frank Lavecchia with Banner Health says they're very rare.
You're many, many thousands of times more likely to get the flu this year than to ever get necrotizing fasciitis once in your lifetime.
Unfortunately for Kristen Lipinski, all the wrong things came together at the right time. Her family taking it one day at a time and hoping for a better day.
To me, it's felt like a life-changing event, and we haven't yet gone through the hard part yet.
And just this week, Kristen has gone through 7 surgeries and there's no end in sight, at least not yet. The family does have a GoFundMe account set up, so if you would like to help them out, you can find that link on our website, abc15.com. Live in Phoenix tonight, Aldo Vasquez, ABC 15, Arizona.
At the point you give up. You don't know what else to do. I didn't know anyone was coming for me. I thought I was going to die.
Trapped inside a 100-foot mine shaft.
And I'm yelling and screaming, you know, trying to get attention.
In shock and pain.
First thing I noticed was my leg was broke.
And in freezing darkness for 3 days, John Waddell held on to hope after plunging 50 feet into the earth.
My rigging just broke.
Sitting at the base of an 8-foot wide hole, writhing in pain and in distress, danger was lurking.
And I look up and there's a rattlesnake coming down, and I pulled out the stick and started beating on this rattlesnake. I killed that one, and as I was leaning over to the side, I could feel something going underneath my arm. This is the second rattlesnake.
He says he killed that one along with a third one that came along, and as the hours dragged and no one around for miles.
Things were going through my head, and if I stayed down there, I knew I was going to die.
Without food or water, he was getting desperate.
And I was popping the blisters and drinking the fluid to try to get something in my system.
Nearly 72 hours later, help finally arrived.
I heard somebody hollering for me and started crying because I knew that, you know, I'm going to get out of here.
It would take crews 6 hours to get him out. Now he's recovering at the hospital, and he's ready to put this prospecting career behind him after 20 years.
And try to find something a little easier to do.
But most of all, grateful to be alive. Aldo Vasquez, ABC 15, Arizona.